there's all of these little things about comics that they don't present at shows or at mics or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, as far as his episode, that was the one that more people started listening
Yeah,
to.
I mean, I sadly that's like the one that was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I started like diving on other people, and I was like Aaron Klein's one was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Joe Fernandez was interesting because it's like he's actually doing it.
Yes.
And I was like, that's fucking awesome just to see a guy that I know and you know that's actually doing the grind, the hustle. And he's as talented as he is, it's good that he's actually like took that step to do that compared to just like, I want a day job still. I'm not secure enough to try it, but he's killing it.
This is so. How long have you been doing stand up?
Like 2 years and a couple months.
What inspired that decision?
This is probably where I lose people. Kill Tony.
Okay, this will be fun.
I'll break it down to you so easily. Like, friends of mine was always like, you should do something with it. I had a boss of mine tell me that I'm better than retail.
Interesting.
So I should go and do stuff better than retail.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, I'll do stand-up then.
So so people were saying you need to do something.
Yeah.
And you just decided
Well,
stand-up.
the main reason I did that with him, though, is because he died. So I was like, well, if he really believed in me enough to die, then I'll go and try this then.
Well, I hope he's in heaven smiling down.
So the funny thing, his name is Larry.
Okay.
And Larry was a manager at a Treasure Island. And it's a grocery store on the south side, like in Hyde Park. They had a couple other locations too, but they all closed down because it was just bullshit organization. But Larry was one of those guys that was just old school white dude. He would look like a penguin, waddle like a penguin.
Yeah.
Missing toes because he looks like a penguin. And he was just one of those old school white guys that, yeah, probably was racist, but at the same time, it was a fun racism. It wasn't like everybody was like, oh, this fucking racist. They're just like, that's just Larry being Larry.
Can you elaborate on what fun racism is?
Yeah. So like he would like if like people were down in the break room eating and like, okay, it's the south side of Chicago, right?
Sure.
So me and this other white guy were the only white guys worked in the grocery department. Everybody else was black.
Uh-huh.
So he would be like, God, you guys really do take long breaks, huh? Get upstairs and fucking start fucking doing the groceries and shit. And it would just be like, yeah, there you go.
See, that feels
all the
very
things, yeah.
So, so you started 2 years ago. So you're, where was the quarantine in terms of that? Like,
I started after it.
You started after quarantine.
After
what
quarantine.
That's been interesting to me. Like
the people that started afterwards?
Yeah, I look at comedy. I don't know if I've said this before around you, but I look at it in eras. So, like, there's the Seinfeld era where everyone wanted a sitcom.
Yeah.
There was the 9/11 era.
Yeah.
You know, then
the darker stuff.
Yeah. Then there was the Trump. I'm from the Trump era. Is what I would like. I started really doing stand up around when Trump was elected. So all we heard was Trump.
Yeah.
And then I would describe your era as the COVID quarantine era.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean. Like the reason I started was like I saw this guy on Kill Tony. His name is Ryan Joseph, and he just had like the most playfulest, darkest jokes I've ever heard in my life. Because I didn't think you could do darker stuff or anything like that, or like fucked up jokes. Because I just assumed like from all the specials I would see on YouTube or Netflix or whatever, it seemed pretty PC and like everything was like everybody like matters and lives and stuff like that. So I was like, you can't make fun of things anymore. But he was just out there doing whatever, and then I was like, oh, this... And then the whole... have you ever seen Kill Tony?
Yeah, I know the concept.
Yeah.
You do a minute, and then the judges roast you.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like cool, but I think it's cool only because it's like a new version of like the Johnny Carson show to an extent. It's like, because a lot of people, like big people watch that show now, so if you're on that, at least you get like known, and then like you don't know who the guest could be. And then they could be like, you're funny. And then this person is now christened you as funny. And then next thing you know, you're open. Like, Kiefer is a perfect example. Yeah. He's opening for Tony Hinchcliffe in the Chicago Theater. And it's all because he did 1 minute of fucking amazing comedy in Austin. Yeah. I mean, that's the fucking Johnny Carson concept right there, man.
So you like the idea? Well, if one, it inspired you because it was something you had never seen before.
Yeah. Well, also like, cause like the first time I ever saw stand-up comedy, it was a guy. I don't know if you know who this is, Robin Harris.
I know that.
Robin Harris is from Baby's Kids. So he was
yeah.
like he's the Bernie Mac before Bernie Mac was Bernie Mac.
Sure.
Like if like there's this like funny story of like Bernie Mac, people seeing Bernie Mac do Bernie Mac, and then people like, you're doing Robin Harris. Cut that shit out. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Interesting.
And yeah, it was like Robin was like the main guy, and the only reason I say he's the first because like if you ever seen the movie Bebe's Kids, he is actually in the movie doing stand up because one of his stand up bits is this whole concept of a woman he takes on a date, she has a kid, and then he shows up and there's 3 other kids, and he's like, well, whose kids are these? And I'm like, these are Bebe's kids. Where the fuck is Bebe?
Yeah.
And then it's this whole thing of they have to take him to the amusement park and shit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you watched that growing up. That was your interest in comedy growing up, and then the spark to like do it was Kill Tony.
Kill Tony, yeah.
Now, growing up, what were you into? Were you into? Sounds like you were not like a stand-up nerd.
No, I wasn't like a huge stand. I mean, like I liked like more like comedy teams like Abbott and Costello and like Three Stooges. You know, stuff that exists in the '90s.
You have a very old school mentality.
My dad raised me very old school. Like,
Interesting.
Like I was like watching I remember like watching like Three Stooges on like 3 different networks when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Would just switch it, and yeah, I mean like I don't know, like it's just like interesting to like think that like people maybe don't know who Abbott and Costello are, and it's like they do stand up, and it's like, how do you not know Abbott? You never heard Who's on First?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy, and like they still don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
Like,
does that old school mentality inform your comedy?
Well, I mean, I'm not like a Mark Norman where I use like, you know, like like I'm not that guy, but like I feel like my comedy is like more so like I don't know, I feel like I like a lot of guys that people don't know, but they've been around forever. Like one of
comics.
Yeah, like one of my favorites is Kevin Brennan.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know Kevin Brennan. They like Neil Brennan, who is his brother. Kevin is the OG. He's the actual guy that's funny, in my opinion. Yeah, I said it. Kevin's the funny one.
Oh boy.
And fuck Neil. And yes, that's the man. Here, I'll tell you a funny story. This is true. I drove from Chicago to New Jersey to see him do 25 minutes in New Jersey on September 11th last year.
Oh, okay. I thought you were anyway. I thought you were being like on 9/11.
No.
So how old are you?
Well, I'm 40.
You must really like this guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's again. So like back in the day, it was him and Attell being the MCs at like the Improv.
Okay.
And they were the ones that pretty much were like, Kristen, you're funny or you're not funny. So like, I don't know if you ever seen this podcast. We Might Be Drunk.
No.
What's Mark Norman and Sam Morril? So like the whole premise is that is like they drink and sometimes they'll have guests on. They had Tom Papa on.
Okay.
And Tom Papa was a very well known guy. Like, you know, the concept of thinking that he struggled at anything in comedy is kind of like laughable because he's so good and so polished now. But like back in the day, he would like walk into a mic, and if he saw Kevin Brennan, he's like, "Oh fuck, why is he here?"
Because
Kevin was just mean. He's just mean and a dick to people.
This is so okay. So Kevin Brennan's the mean. He's mean. He's a dick. He's an asshole.
Yes.
But fuck Neil Brennan.
Kevin's the funny one though.
Okay, so you don't find Neil funny?
No.
Why? I feel like I'm piecing together who you are.
Because Kevin was like the OG.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like imagine like, okay, you got like Michael Jackson, right?
Sure.
He comes out and everybody knows Michael Jackson. And then like Jermaine is like, but I also do music too. You're going to be like, but you're no Michael though. You know what I'm saying? Like because they're brothers.
Sure.
So somebody in the family did it first and then like you become a fan of that person. You're like, oh, this guy, but he's not like his brother.
So you like Kevin because Kevin did it before Neil?
And he's also funnier than Neil.
What makes Kevin funnier?
His subject matter, the premises, he's just an awkward guy on stage. Neil just seems like he's like, I'm not saying he hasn't paid his dues or anything like that. He's obviously a talented person because he sells out and does things or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, like his subject matter doesn't touch me like Kevin's touches me.
What are some of the subjects that
like Kevin does a joke like let's see, one of his jokes is like I was talking to my wife recently and she was like, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and then never comes back to, and I'm gonna start sucking your dick more. You know what I'm saying? A joke like that, I would like that over like or Neil Brennan saying the N-word 3 times in 3 different jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, like because like Neil just seems, I don't know, he just like, he doesn't hit me like that. I can't explain it. Like Kevin's just like raw. I can't explain it.
I get you that there are some people that just bring a spark out of you.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. I think what I'm trying to do now is piece together your taste, because you know me a little bit. You know that I'll go to a mic, sign up first, fucking leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't, and I'm working on that. I'm working on.
But through your podcast, I understand why. Because when I first met you, I just thought you were arrogant as shit.
Really?
And I was like, this guy's just arrogant. Because you sign up, you sort of like, ugh, and then like you go up, do your thing, and then leave. And I was like, what's wrong with this guy? But through your podcast, I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
He's gone through some shit. And
Yeah.
he's dealing and working on it.
Thank you.
That's good.
I am so curious. Okay, wait. So when you first met me, do you remember when that was?
I think one of the first times I met you was at Lincoln Lodge, waiting for, I guess, Derek Strong's mic. I think maybe
I
once.
probably looked irritated.
And then at one time at I think Tin Lizzie's for Trigger Warning.
Yeah.
I remember I was I forget the girl's name, but I was just sitting talking, and then you were sitting talking to the girl, and it wasn't like I was trying to talk to her like that, just friendly banter. And then your vibe, I was like, God, this guy just seems, what's wrong with this dude?
Yeah. Did I seem angry or?
Yeah, you just seem like it was just like somebody had pissed you off that hour, that second, that day. And I was like, man, I'm going away from this guy. He seems mean.
It's so I'm glad you listened to the podcast to get that context, but I think what I struggle with is I can't sit everyone down to watch the podcast and get right. And it's I'm sure I come off like a piece of shit to most people. Yeah.
But you like that? No, I feel like you like that only in the idea it's like there's an aura now. So if they really want to get to know you, they actually have to talk to you.
I'm gonna think on that.
Yeah.
And while I think on that, you brought up the word PC. You're not a fan of that.
I mean, my thing is I feel like if everything kind of has to be made fun of.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because then it's equal. Like if you're afraid to talk about something, then it's not equal. Then it's like this has don't talk about this, and then now that has this aura of ooh, now I have to somebody has to write the perfect joke to really punch down or up or whatever, blah blah. You know, because comedy is mean. It's not nice.
It is an inherently mean art form.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is you're supposed to don't talk about this. It's we want to talk about that way more now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's just because I'm older.
How old are
I'm
you?
40.
God damn.
Yeah,
the
40.
beard helps.
Exactly. Yeah. But the thing is, here, I'll show you here. A buddy of mine was asking me what I look like with short hair. I'm not going to show the camera.
I'm so
or maybe
curious.
I will. I don't know. Yeah, I'll show you. But yeah, I mean, my thing is I'm old school, in the idea that back in my day, you can make fun of things. Everything had its fucked upness to it. There would be words you'd be like, oh, I don't know if I should say this out. I remember back in the day, if I put my middle finger in the air, I would go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I never did that.
Interesting.
Just because it was ingrained in me. It's if you do this,
yeah,
you're going to a bad place. And it was just ingrained. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, no, I'm good. I could do that.
While you're looking that up, my vibe would
You want to see a Latino Matt?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, now there's a story to behind.
That's you, huh?
Yeah.
Jesus. It's I know that's you.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever cut the
Enjoy that. Enjoy that. I used to be fuckable.
Do you think you'll ever cut the beard and the
Probably not. My whole joke, I was telling somebody yesterday that I would do it for a price, and it would not be a low price. It would be $7 million.
Right.
It's again, your hair looks amazing, your locks. If somebody came up to you how much would it cost to cut that, you'd be $12 million.
Yeah.
Why would you settle?
It's a part of me.
Yeah.
No, I feel you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I started thinking about the what I was saying, the aura and everything. So I don't think I think it's something that I'm not trying to make happen.
Right.
I think I'm learning how to accept it.
Right.
If you go back to the beginning of all of these podcasts when I first started interviewing people, there was a lot of envy I was presenting.
Okay.
So I would meet people and there would be things about literally, I want to say every comic I've talked to, there is a thing about them where I'm like, ooh, even if I don't enjoy them as a whole, there's a thing about them where I'm like, I like this part of you. This is something I envy. I wish I had something about this. I wish I had in myself.
Would you now go up to someone and be like, you know what? I hate everything about you, but that one joke about wheelchairs, I like that.
Really
and then you just walk away. Storm off.
Oh no, I would feel bad.
Why? Because at least you would be like explaining like, I like this about you. Maybe work on that.
I think I came to a place where I realized not everything I think needs to be said.
Okay.
Like growing up, I used to do that. I used to be like, well, I was just being honest, bro. Just being honest. Like, yeah, but you don't need.
Right. Of course. I'm gonna. You're good.
Okay.
And we're back.
Yes. I just came to a place where I realized like I didn't need to say some of the shit that I would say to people. It's fucking so unnecessary, and I realized they were invasive thoughts.
What's the worst thing you've ever said to either a comic or just a normal person?
I will have to I will have to tell you when I'm dead serious. Okay, I'll give you one, but the one I will have to tell you off of the camera.
Okay, now is it a person from Chicago? Oh, now we're getting greasy. All right, I like this.
Yeah.
Now the podcast has switched.
Here's
Tell me
something
your dark secrets.
I know, right? Here's something I remember. I was in college.
Okay.
And I went on this date with this girl.
Okay.
We're walking through like a kind of old village. It was quiet. It was really peaceful.
Is this in Chicago or in
This is back in California.
Okay.
Back in, it was like San Diego area.
Okay.
So we're walking around, and I would have this issue of if I had an invasive thought, I would just, rather than take a second, process, think like, do I need to say this? I would just blurt it out.
Okay.
We're walking. This is the middle of the night. Nobody's around.
Okay.
We're walking. Date's going fine. We're chilling, talking. And I said, out of the blue, I said, man, you know what's crazy? I could totally murder you right now. And I didn't mean it like.
But that's not the worst thing. That just shows you that you're comfortable with her. To murder her.
What a beautiful positive twist.
Yeah, if I was a girl and I heard that, I'd be like, I'm honored.
Okay, yeah, to be honored to be murdered.
Yeah, because that means at least you'll be on TV.
Sure.
Eventually in life.
I said that, and she looked horrified,
okay.
and I was like, I'm just.
Yeah.
It got real weird after that. And
that's
yeah.
That's the where it went weird.
Very weird. And so I've come to this place now where I'm trying to be intentional with my behavior a little more.
I got you.
Because it's embarrassing. Because I don't want to. My intention isn't to hurt anybody or bother anybody.
Right.
And so I guess when you say when you first met me, I came off like an ass. I feel bad.
No, don't feel bad because that's who you are. Like you're not. You are an asshole, but you're not like an asshole or like I get to know you now.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I got to know you through your podcast, which is even better. But the other thing is I learned that you're a Taurus, right?
I am.
I'm a Taurus also.
Okay.
We're gonna say the dumbest shit at the wrong time to everybody.
I wouldn't have expected.
Yes, we're talking about astrology.
Would not have expected that from you.
Yeah.
You seem like the type of guy who would say astrology is stupid.
I want to say that, but there's some little bullet points and stuff where you're like, okay, I can see this.
Finding some consistencies here. Now, okay, to go back to the PC things you can't say. So I feel like I want to better understand what you mean because my instinct is to give pushback, but maybe I don't have full context. So you feel like things are politically correct now?
No. I mean, I feel like I think the world's never going to be politically correct. But at the same time, it's like I think it's the job of the comedian just to make fun of things.
Okay.
So, again, like you can go out for blood or whatever one night and just be like just roast everybody, say the slurs that you want to say or whatever. And if there's no audience for that, cool. But I think you should have the freedom to express because again, you should be able to talk how you want to talk and not be afraid. But guess what? If somebody wants to go up on stage and punch you in the face, they're allowed to do that too. In the idea they're really annoyed with what you said. You know what I'm saying? So if I say something to you,
okay,
and it's just me saying whatever I want to say, you have the right to react how you want to react.
Yes.
So that's why I agree that you should be able to say what you want to say. But again, if you're in a crowd full of Trump supporters or whatever, and you're like, Trump is a blah, 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 that's on you. You could say that, but do you want to say that? You know what I'm saying?
Are you willing to accept the consequences that come from it?
It's more like that.
Okay.
That's where I come from where I say I don't like the PC-ness. Because it's if you're doing an art form of speaking, more likely you're going to offend people. Because it's you and your mindset against the audience of many.
Okay.
So now everybody's going to agree with you unless it's an art form where it's a rally or some shit. So more than likely, it's like you're gonna offend people. So it's like it's pointless to have like a PCness to it. Like,
Can you define politically correct? What does it mean to you?
I feel it's just like this, like sort of like a person just waving their finger at you saying you can't do that. Like a teacher saying like, "Hey, you can't do this." It's like, or somebody like in that like sort of dictatorship. It's like, "No, don't say that. Don't you dare say that." And it's like, as a comedian or a stand-up, wherever you want to say we are, you want to say that.
Sure.
Like I mean, look at all the greats. The second they were like, "You can't say this," like they would do that.
Okay. Now, what if what you say? Okay, this will be fun. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this. What would you say to the idea? Okay. What would you say to the idea that comedy isn't fun without the person waving their finger at you in the first place?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So you don't like PC, but inherently PC needs to exist for you to have something to push back at all. So if there's nobody waving their finger and everyone's like, yeah, okay, and it loses all of its bite.
Yeah.
It almost feels like I love is the yin yang? It's in there, like this philosophy of of balance of like you need the thing that you don't like so that you can do the thing that you like.
Of course, because comedy again, like the only reason people need comedy is because their life sucks, and they want to laugh. If everybody's happy, nobody needs stand up.
Okay. I'm
Well,
processing.
that's
I'm processing. Okay.
I feel like in a weird way that's like logical, like
Sure.
because it's like you need the negative to create the happiness.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But you don't need the happiness to create anything. Like happiness is like stagnant in a way.
Without like if everything is happy, nothing's happy. Like it becomes numb.
Because if you're happy, then you're content.
Mm-hmm.
If you're sad and angry, then you can grow to something.
But if you grow to become content.
But that's the thing, though. You have to always have a mindset of like, you're not good enough, and then you keep growing, and then you're not good enough. But it has to be a healthy amount.
Okay.
You ever seen that movie Blow?
Oh, was that Johnny Depp?
Yeah, with Johnny Depp.
He does cocaine.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay. There you go.
What about
for those of you film buffs out there, if you want to see a movie about cocaine,
yeah,
and Johnny Depp doing it, well, the whole concept is like I'm saying, like that character he was playing, he at an early age learned he has to do better.
Okay.
Because his mom cheated on his dad because his dad didn't make enough of something. But then he grew up not understanding that you can have like a contents of like, I've made $50 million, I could be happy now. He didn't have that. So enough for him was never enough because it's just the word enough. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So he just kept building and like because he made money off the weed. He wasn't happy with that. He was like, this is nothing. I want to make more money. And that came from like his like mom like looking down and saying, well, this might be gone. You need more money. Yeah.
Do you feel that way about yourself?
No, I'm lazy. I'm very lazy.
I feel like you think about comedy, if nothing else.
Well, I would like to be stronger and better. I feel like we all do. I mean, like in Chicago, we have a lot of amazing comedians, and it's like to be at their level or just to make them laugh is like a task we take on. Well, I don't know if you, but I take on like weekly because it's like trying to write something.
Laugh?
Yeah, because I feel like that way at least you know like they consider you funny per se compared to like an audience finding you funny. Because like there's people that can go to an audience and make them laugh, and then go to like a Beer Belly or a Power Hour and just bomb their dick off, and it's like, well, are they funny?
I'm so excited. I'm looking. Okay. I'm excited because I believe the reverse.
Yeah, I get you. Well, that's logically correct. But like for me, it's like more so like I'm around these guys all the time. So it's like as somebody that's only 2 years into it, I would like to sort of make people that I think are funny laugh. Because then at least you have the mentalness of like, okay, they thought that was funny. Now keep in mind, it might not work with the real audience.
Yeah.
But it's like right now, it's like I want that per se. Just so like I can be like legitimate, like okay, he's funny, compared to like yeah, he does it.
Now, okay. So for me, I'm concerned. Obviously, I'm concerned to some level with my peers. Any reasonable like, I don't want to be in the scene and I go on stage in front of an audience, but it's hacky and it's fucking bullshit.
See, don't you hate that where you know like if you do a joke, like I went to my buddies.
Yeah.
I did like the open mic, and I just did like the stuff I would do at a show, and it just ate dog shit. And then I did my buddies a show there, like that Friday, and it went really well.
In front of the audience.
In front of the audience, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it was just the funniest thing. So I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, I didn't change anything about it.
Uh-huh.
It's just, this is comics and this is the audience. But in my mind, it's like, yeah, I agree with you. I would love, obviously, like, I want the jokes to work for an audience because they're going to pay to see whatever. But in your brain, don't you kind of like, well, I also want these guys to laugh too and know that they're good jokes.
Depends on the comic.
Oh, okay.
So not comedians in general.
Okay.
It depends on, and then this is, you know what? Let's work on myself as well.
Yeah, let's go for it.
I am coming to a place where no, my intentions are not to upset or offend or to bother people or to come off like a dick, like I'm sure I came off.
Yeah.
But also accept just who I am. Just accept.
Well, your material doesn't come off dickish.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What does my material come off like?
It's funny. It's like, it's quirky. Yes, I'll say the word quirky.
Oh man,
It's very intelligent actually, and the
okay.
idea that like, because you talk about being a sign language interpreter, I feel like the average person looks at you and doesn't think that.
They don't
You know
think
what
I'm
I'm
an
saying?
interpreter. Yeah.
And that's not like a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just an ace you could pull out your ass and be like, I also do this. And like, oh. And then you make a joke about that and how like they're racist and stuff like that. And it's like a different concept that I've never heard like a comedian do before, which is good.
Man, we can get, if we go down the death road, we'll talk about it.
I've heard you talk about, I think Joe Fernandez about that craziness and stuff like that.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
It's, you know what? Let me not.
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
just,
yeah, we can focus.
the rest of the podcast will be so deaf people.
Check out that Joe Fernandez episode. I'm plugging.
So, but this is something about me that I am trying to accept. So, and that is, if comedically speaking, I think I don't respect most people's comedy.
I got you.
I think I understand it. I watch it. I can, respect's not the right word, enjoy.
I get you.
And so the comics that I'm looking for any sense of validation from, to me, I have to be looking way up at them.
Right, no, I get you.
Yeah, if you're on my level, like this level or below,
right,
I'm like, I kind of don't care.
Right.
But if you're way in the stratosphere and you like, then I'm with it. And then as far as the audience goes, in my head, I'm like, well, this is a business. This is my career.
Right.
I need to make a fan base.
Right.
Are your goals to be a working comic?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. To at least be on the road eventually within like a year or two doing something. Yeah, the funny thing is I got like people that I know that like are like road guys, and like this one guy, Jake Silver, what's his name? Silverman? I think Jake Silverman.
Jake Silverman.
He's really funny. He's opening up for he does like Kyle Kinane. He'll open for him and a couple other people. And like Dave Yates. Check these people out on YouTube or Instagram. They're fucking hilarious. And I met Dave at Comedy Bar, and he was like this road guy. Yeah, Jay Silverman. Yeah, and then Dave Yates, I think is the other guy's name. Dave Yates. They're great comedians and they're road guys. And it's just interesting to see them like do their thing on the road, and like in a goofy way. Yeah, in a goofy way, you're like, oh, I can actually do this. You know what I'm saying? The material may vary, but like you could actually do this and submit and do all this stuff, whatever. It's possible in a weird way.
Seeing somebody that's not super famous,
right,
but is living off of it,
right, and they've opened for people that are at like a level it's like the dream is at and stuff like that.
I do think it's interesting. People's perception of the entertainment industry in general is that like unless you're famous, you're not doing it. But yeah, no, it's very feasible. It's very realistic to make a living off of it.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. I was like, oh, you could actually kind of do this. Okay. Yeah.
And so was that part of why you are sticking with comedy? Because you're doing it so late in life.
Yeah. My thing is I feel I had to do it late in life because I had nothing, no experiences to be like, oh, I can put a joke together and stuff like that. Yeah.
You're from out here, right?
Yeah, I'm from Maywood.
That's Burbs?
Oh, yeah, the Burbs, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I know my place in Chicago. I'm not a Chicago person. I'm from the Burbs. But the funny thing is, like, so Maywood is like known for its like, okay, this is a joke I do, but it's true. It's like murder. Like Maywood has a nickname, and it's called Murderwood.
That's horrifying. Why?
Yeah. It was because Stabby Stabby Bang Bang Force was taken. That's a dumb joke with it. But
there's a lot of murders that happen.
there's like a couple. I mean, it's not the nicest, but it's not the worst.
Okay.
Like Maywood actually has like the wrong side of the tracks per se. Like if you're on Lake Street and you cross the tracks, you're on the south side.
Yeah.
People will ask you like who lost their job to go on the south side if you're on the north side.
Right. Right.
But the north side's got some niceness to it. It's I'm trying to think. It's got like I think one mansion. It was a house with a swimming pool. In the 90s, we're like, that's a nice house right there.
So you, I've already lost. So wait. So the Burbs. How do we get to the Burbs? How do
you asked me where I grew up at.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Maywood.
Yeah.
And was your family encouraging? Were they
To do what?
to anything?
Oh yeah, my family was very like open-minded. They were like go after something or whatever. Like I grew up with both parents in my household.
Yeah.
They're still together. They love each other. Yeah, just grew up the average. Cause like you ever seen the movie The Sandlot?
Yeah. Oh, I love The Sandlot.
That was my childhood.
Yeah.
Only in the 90s.
Okay. So you grew up in 1952.
Yeah, only in the 90s. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Ray Charles, amazing singer every Sunday.
Oh, and you're 40. So you were born in 83. 3. We have a different. Interesting.
Yeah. Where were you born?
91.
Okay, yeah.
And that is different. We have different. It's different. Anyway, so they encourage you to do stuff, and you just didn't do stuff.
Well, I mean, like I did stuff, but like I would do like sports and stuff like that. But it wasn't like. How do I say this? It wasn't like abusive. I feel like most people when like you ask about the family, it's like oh my dad did this and they were like never blah blah blah. No, I had like a good childhood. I didn't have like anything like fucked up really. It's kind of boring. Like I mean like growing up I had like black friends, white friends, Hispanic friends. I don't know where the fuck Asians came from, but they weren't in my childhood.
Sure.
But the one thing I think that me and you kind of relate on also is like so I'm half Mexican and half Irish.
Okay.
And you're 100% black?
I'm black, and I know on my dad's side there's some Filipino.
Okay. I feel like we both never fit in based on our race.
I have thoughts, but I want to hear the rest of you. Oh, I'm excited.
Because like, when you grow up, like I had like a lot of Mexican friends, and they're like, I don't speak Spanish, and they're like, speak Spanish, and I was like, no, I don't know how to do that. And then just like you get berated for that, and then like people would be like, hey, say this in Spanish, and you'd say it, and it'd be like, oh, you talked about woman's vagina. It's like, is that cool?
The white kids said that or something?
No, Mexicans.
The Mexicans. Okay.
Yeah. So like it's the idea like for the longest time people would be like, well, you're gonna learn Spanish to fit in. It sounds like no, I'm not gonna learn that shit. Because it's pointless to like, because I'm me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like me and you have the ability to be individuals because of who we are, instead of like have to follow because of what people think we should follow. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I'm still okay. No, because it's okay. So, and on the white side of things, how did they treat you? The Irish.
The Irish. The Irish. I don't know.
You said you were Mexican and Irish.
Yeah, Mexican and Irish, but like I never like it was just white people.
Right.
You know, like they just everybody was in sweaters and shit. I don't know.
Did you find yourself relating more with the white people?
No, I honestly related more to black people. I think.
Why is that?
I don't know, just like the vibe, the culture, everything like that. I always dig that. I'll give you a perfect example. So like when I was a kid, Blockbuster, it was this thing, right?
Yeah.
But Blockbuster was rich people. Like it would cost like $5 to rent a movie back in the day at Blockbuster. Yeah. That's a lot, kids. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So we would do is my mom would clip out coupons and we go with the coupon to rent a movie. Mm-hmm. So a buddy of mine was telling me I should rent this movie, rent the movie, get it, watch it with my mom, and it's early in the movie, and it got to the scene where the one of the characters goes, now anytime you bring any of them hoes over, I gotta fuck them first. Mm. And she went to the VCR and ejected the movie and was like, I don't think you're ready for this. And that was Don't Be a Menace to Society While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood.
That's right.
Such a good movie, and I was like kind of like hooked on the culture. I don't know, it blew my mind like how it was just like fun and playful at the same time and stuff like that. And I had friends of mine that also would quote stuff from stuff. So yeah.
There is a in black culture there is a the ability to take the worst situation and somehow find fun.
Yeah.
And that's, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
As far as me, I know what you're saying. I think that too black for the white kids, too white for the black kids.
Yeah.
So you end up having, you don't end up being able to have community to even draw from. You just kind of draw from within almost.
Well, I created like just me, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Hold on a second.
You're good.
I'm sorry. What were we saying?
I said he has an amazing system of clapping. This one.
It helps with editing.
There you go.
So racially, community, being an individual. That's what we were saying. So I think that that ostracization did develop me into a pretty unique person.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you could put me in a box.
Right, and that's a good thing.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. When you tell yourself it is, it is. You'll believe it one day.
I do. It's. I think what I've learned coming out here and what I've developed for myself is healthy community. Yeah. I would say the good thing about it was I've eventually developed a strong sense of self.
Yeah.
And now when I put myself in a community, I know who I am within that context. So, oh fuck, this is gonna be the dumbest comparison.
Let's
did you
hear
see
it.
Across the Spider-Verse?
No.
Oh,
what's that?
This makes me so. Fuck you. Really?
What is it?
Across the Spider-Verse?
You could say it 7 more times.
Into the Spider-Verse? Miles Morales?
How many Spider-Verses are there?
Are you fucking kidding?
I don't know what this is. What is this?
Do you not watch movies?
How old is this movie?
This year.
No, I don't watch movies this year.
Hold on. Across the Spider-Verse.
You can say it 9 more times. Folks, he's going to say it 7 more times.
I'm going to say it as much as I goddamn need
I've never heard of this movie. I don't watch movies nowadays.
I sincerely don't know if you are fucking trolling me. You have never seen this.
Okay, first off, people, he's showing me a live-action cartoon Spider-Man movie and is questioning why I have not seen this. I think this answers itself.
Whoever watched, comment. No. If you listen to this point, comment, because you're acting like I'm crazy for you. Are you serious?
Okay, I'm 40. I don't know this shit.
That's crazy. All right, then my example here is null. Yeah, being an individual, all of that, and it's. I'm just trying to move.
Right,
past.
but I get it, but like that's what makes you an individual. It's the idea that you like stuff like that, and again, it's probably like people have seen this thing, but I've just never seen it because I'm grown. I don't know what the fuck. Don't get me wrong, I watched cartoons. I have a Courage the Cowardly Dog tattoo on my fucking arm.
Really?
On my leg.
Right your leg?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a lot of weird little tattoos, actually.
Yeah.
What? Well, don't.
So I got Dr. Seuss tattoos. I got 2 ducks, if you can see that. I got Calvin Hobbes.
Oh, you have a whole childish ass thing going on there. I dig it.
Yeah.
Okay. Individual. Yeah. I think it's good to have your individual traits and to acknowledge them. And there's also, and this is where I take issue with America. You ready?
Oh, let's hear it.
I don't like how hyper individual focused our country thinks it is.
Now, what does that mean?
It means that you are an individual above all else. You are just all you, everything you.
And you don't like that?
I don't. It's super selfish. I think it leads to a lot of problems, and I think it destroys other people.
So you're saying that like creating individualism destroys people, or just like, or how it,
the extremism of it? It's back to yin yang.
Meaning
to
like
be an individual, there's nothing wrong with being an individual.
Right, but like you mean like a cult leader type thing, and that,
no,
like when you're like, I am the supreme being, I am me, I'm better than everybody type thing, or you just mean like the guy that's like, I believe in myself, I'm content.
I mean it's going to come back to a racial example.
Okay.
So when, let's say, okay, use fucking capitalism, I guess. You
don't like capitalism?
I have mixed feelings.
Oh, you like capitalism. You want to like capitalism.
Why?
Because what's wrong with making the most money you can?
Because at a certain point, it becomes selfish and destructive.
Oh, come on now. Here's the ironic twist I find that's funny that nobody ever thinks about capitalism. Now, keep in mind, not many people have done this.
Okay.
But imagine you make $5 million, right?
Sure.
And you made it through capitalism, right?
Made it through it, sure.
Made it through capitalism. Now, what you do with that money is up to you, right?
Yep.
So what's wrong with people making the most money and then doing what they want? Like, if you're the type of person that's like, well, I want to give to people, you have $50 million. You could do that.
The type of person to get to Jeff Bezos level isn't the type of person to give. The type of mentality.
But then Aaron Chase, the guy that can eventually get to $50 million, can then be that person to give then.
The type of person that is like me would probably give before they got to that level.
Well, that's not good. Because if you want to grow a successful business, you have to focus on yourself. But you don't like that, though, because that's the thing that you were talking about you don't like.
So I think the problem with what you're saying here is that it's about the extremes. So for instance,
well, think of it this way: like if you're the person that wants that mindset to be a capitalist to like make a shit ton of money, you're gonna have to only believe in yourself, be selfish, and be all these negative attributes.
Yes.
Because if you're a positive person and you want to give to people, obviously it's not gonna work for you.
Yep.
But I'm talking about to the level of like making like $50 million, $100 million, whatever, right? But then you do that, and then if you're the type of person where you're like at the end of the day, you're like, well, I always do want to give back to people. Then you could do that. Now, again, this person doesn't exist, but that's why I always tell people you should want to be a capitalist because you could be the person to change everything then.
Right, and that is not how the system works.
Right, but if you make that much money, you can be your own system in a way.
You're not going to though, right?
You
just acknowledged that by having the mentality of that person, you're not going to be that.
Well, you could be if you have like a conscience, right? But at the same time, you're like, I have to believe in me, I have to focus or whatever, and not get taken by greed or whatever, quote unquote.
Sure.
You can do that. You can figure out the way. You can nowadays, technology wise, you can figure out how to make $50 million somehow. Believe in yourself, double down on it, and if you have that conscience still, you can still give to people.
Do you feel like our system is built to support our people in general?
I don't think so. I don't think it, like in a weird way, should though.
Why?
Because I feel like if you're born, you should be able to take care of yourself.
If you're born, you should be able to take care of yourself?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's like if you're born, right? And that means people are teaching you to do stuff, whatever, right?
Okay.
And then they give you this whole education and a solid foundation, which a lot of people obviously don't have.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have that, though.
But you don't, because...
Right, but that's the thing. That's the thing that I think kind of like fucks everything up, because everybody's like, well, I didn't get that. Well, how come I don't, like, what the fuck? It's like, I get that, but like, my dad came from nothing and became a teacher and bought a house, and it's all because he figured out like how to do it.
What year was it when he bought the house?
80s.
Okay.
1980 on the dot.
So
now keep in mind, like his mom was Mexican and swam over the river and gave him nothing. Four more siblings and they had nothing.
So that's one of those fallacies that I like to point out. The model minority fallacy. My mom was such and such race and came over and they did this. Why can't these other lazy motherfuckers do this?
I didn't say lazy. I said there is a blueprint, but at the same time, some people obviously get lost in the sauce and they don't figure out the blueprint.
Sure.
I didn't say the word lazy.
I didn't say the word lazy. I'm saying that at a certain point, community and support is important. You were saying that you enjoyed black culture, right?
Yeah.
Can you break down more why?
I like like you were saying, like the humor side of it and stuff like that.
Where does all of that come from?
Probably struggling and stuff like that, right?
I think it comes from community.
Well, but like you need the struggle to make the joke, though, right?
To make the no, I mean not the I'm saying the culture itself. Jokes or not, the culture.
Right.
I think that people like black culture because of its sense of community.
Well, I like it for like the like the growth and stuff like that, where it's like a person's down here, and then they come up here. I like it for that mentality.
The fantasy of like Michael Jordan.
Well, it's not fantasy; it's realism. He did that. It's not like a fantasy.
So that's the.
I like seeing like my friends or whatever that started with nothing I grew up with or whatever, and now they actually have businesses and property and stuff like that, and they figured it out based on like mistakes they made in life, and they were able to like figure it out. And
that's beautiful for them.
Yeah.
Now, what about all these other people outside of your friends?
Again, I mean, at the end of the day, like there is a blueprint out there. It's just sometimes it's hard
Pull
to
yourself
find
up
the
by your
blueprint.
bootstraps.
I don't know about all of that. It's just more so like you just have to figure out the blueprint. Because there's a blueprint out there, I guess.
What is the blueprint?
The blueprint is like believing in yourself,
Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
Self-love,
Okay.
which is a hard... Nobody teaches self-love or anything like that.
Sure.
And then understanding that only you can do this.
What do you mean by only you can do this?
It's your life. So you're the one that chooses to do this and go forward and stuff like that. You know? So that's... When you figure those three things out...
When you say do this, what is this?
The blueprint.
But what is the blueprint is love yourselves. What was it?
So like bet on yourself, love yourself, and some other bullshit. But like the whole concept is if you want to do something, you can do it. It's just up to you to do it because nobody else is going to do it for you.
Sure.
And then somebody might assist you along the way, but it has to be along the way, though. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is a sense of self-control and focusing on yourself and making the best version of yourself. And
Right.
if you're focusing on everybody else, you're not focusing on yourself.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
Oh, God. Here we go with the buts. What's the butt?
it seems like anything outside of that you seem to be negating. So like when you say there's a blueprint and you're saying you get to this, what is this and what is the blueprint?
Well, this is like the realization that you want to do better.
What is better?
The opposite of what you're doing.
When are you saying like the American dream? Is that what you mean?
Well, the American dream is a real thing, but it's not for Americans. It's more so for immigrants.
What is the American dream to you?
The American dream is to come over to America,
Okay.
start from nothing, and build something.
Okay.
And
then
my dad was able to do that, so he had the American dream.
Okay. And what is that something?
What is the something?
Yeah,
to
you
build
said build something.
Well, like
what is the
if
something?
you like a business or
Okay.
something that gives you revenue that you can get with the things that you want to create the idea dream that you had when you were in another country that you want to come over here for.
Okay. Now, the people that are already, you said the American dream is for immigrants.
Yes.
So those immigrants coming in, and what about the people that are already here?
I mean, in a weird way, it's like I feel like, again, like there's like a whole discussion we can have on this. I mean, it comes down to like in a household, I feel like it's easy to see like the difference between somebody that's like raised in a single family to somebody that's raised with two parents, and the idea that like, not to say there might be more structure, but there might be like how do I say this? It might be like just another notion that somebody was there also to lend you a hand on your journey. Does that make sense at all? Because if like there's two people, like if you're raised by a single mom or something like that, you're gonna obviously have like things against you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna like, well, I don't have a dad or something like that. Father's Day, what the fuck is that shit? Bullshit, whatever. So now you're gonna feel like you're like not all there as a person, stuff like that. When everybody's celebrating, you're like, well, I don't celebrate this shit. But then eventually, and hopefully this works, you realize that the whole concept of all that stuff doesn't matter, because eventually you have to look at yourself and go, well, what do I want to do? And then you set a journey and then you go for it. And that's the blueprint.
Okay. So I'm put this in my own words. Tell me if I don't want to misconstrue what you're saying.
Okay.
The American dream to you is for immigrants to come to America to start from nothing.
Yes.
And then to build to a thing, whatever that thing is, if they want to make a baking shop.
Right,
or
something that gives them revenue or at least like, or something like that, yeah.
Now, the people that are already here that have created the system within America, how does that work for them?
The system is not going to work for you. You have to work for you.
Now, when I say the people that are already here, I mean the people that are already in power.
Okay.
They've built this system that is actively made to stop all of those immigrants and actively made to stop anybody trying to come up, right?
Okay.
Now, how do you grapple with that?
Well, I mean, like, there's legal ways of coming into America and illegal ways of coming into America. So it's like, I mean, in my opinion, if you want to do like the quote unquote right thing to do, I would do like if I go to Canada, I'm not gonna like just try to sneak into Canada. I'm gonna be like, here's my passport. I would like to come into Canada, please.
So no, I'm talking about the system itself. So the system, that immigrant coming in, legal, illegal, that person coming up, poor, not poor.
Right.
that system that is built to make it so that you can't come up. How do we deal with that? How do you grapple with that part of it?
What do you mean you can't come up?
The system that is built in such a way to stop people from succeeding.
I feel like it's more of a mindset than a system per se.
Okay, I think that's the part we disagree with. So
Okay.
your mindset in general, I think is beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful mindset to focus on yourself, be good, stay
Right.
positive.
Yeah, I mean, try to, like, only you could do it. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The problem with it is that it negates reality. So, for instance, growing up,
I don't think it negates reality. I feel it's just like, it's more so like again, like I've met like a lot of people that are immigrants or whatever, and they've told me all their stories or whatever. But like, I feel like when it comes down to like people in America and stuff, like you could say the system and all this stuff or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of things that cut people down and stuff, like drug dealers, people that are on drugs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If you live that life, both those lives, you're gonna be stagnant at that era, and then you're not gonna be able to like go forward because like you can make a living and like strongerness. In my opinion.
So I think our country is literally, it's built on free labor, slave labor, right? So
I don't know. I don't agree with that, but you could say it right if you want, but I don't agree with that. Yeah.
How was it not? White House literally built by slaves. How is it not?
I wouldn't say it's built by slaves per se, because like people that like the white people that came here originally, they were building stuff too.
But
you know what I'm saying?
What made America an economic power was the cotton industry.
Okay.
Before, I don't want to sound like a condescending asshole because I totally do.
Yeah.
Do you know about the history of the cotton industry?
No.
Okay, so during I want to say that was like the 1700s or the early 1800s, the cotton gin is made.
Yeah, I know.
And it is explodes.
Well, yeah.
It is our biggest export.
Yeah.
It is the hugest thing we do. That is built from slavery.
Okay.
That's built from free labor. If they had to pay those people, then all of that money doesn't get to go to the top and then spread out that way.
I got you.
So we're exploiting, and this is just black people. This isn't even Native Americans or Asian people or Mexicans.
I get you. Yeah.
Taking all the land from the Mexicans, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So our economic system is built off of this free labor for generations.
Okay.
Right? So you have generations of people who are working for free, who are being abused, who are having their families taken from them, who are being raped, they're being murdered, they're being hobbled, so on and so forth. And all of that money is going to these people who's controlling them. They're passing it on to their family. Next generation builds. The white people build.
Yeah, I got you.
Can't do shit. Right?
I got you, yeah.
And then I know you didn't say literally pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, but that seems to be the thought process. The I can start from here and on my own merit come up here, right?
Yeah, why can't you though?
Okay. Do you know about the Tulsa Massacre?
Here's the thing. I've heard all these things or whatever,
Sure.
and I understand its history, and for people, it's like it really holds deep to them and stuff like that. Yeah. I get that. Like my whole theory is like, look, that happened. I'm not here to apologize for anything. I'm not here to be like, I'm sorry that I'm saying that happened. That's the history. That's what happened. I get that concept. But at the end of the day, though, it's like if you're going to focus on stuff that's happened in the past, then you're not going to focus on stuff that's in the present.
So I would say to that, hold on, we got to do the thing.
No problem.
Okay, so to what I would say to that is it's happening in the present. Like the 13th Amendment. You know the 13th Amendment?
What was the 13th Amendment?
So the 13th Amendment was made after slavery was abolished. And the amendment is if you go to jail, you have lost all your rights and you're a slave again. Okay. So what they would do is they free the slaves and then they made loitering laws. Okay. So that idea and the concept of a loitering wasn't even a thing. Like you're literally making it against the law to just be at a place. Okay. Then they would enslave those same people that were slaves and make them free labor. Okay. This is an amendment that still goes on today. So
wait, people get arrested for loitering today?
Yeah.
So, where?
In our country.
Where? I've seen people loiter outside of buildings. They don't call it cops out.
That's called anecdotal evidence. So I'm not going to bring out statistics right now. I'm not going to go on my computer and do that.
I've never seen people.
But that's or I don't know, arresting a guy for selling loose cigarettes. Like finding ticky-tack reasons to throw people in jail to use black people in particular to use that free labor. Like it's our prison industrial complex is made. It's not a state-run thing. It's individual. It's like a company.
Okay.
So we've stripped now generation after generation after generation. Now we'll use Irish.
Okay.
Right? The Irish have an issue with alcoholism. Is that fair?
Potatoes, but yes.
Yeah. You would never just tell an alcoholic, "Well, just stop being an alcoholic."
I mean, you can.
Okay.
You can say that to an alcoholic, be like, "Hey, stop it." And some people, they'll be like, either they'll listen to you or they won't listen to you. You can say this.
Sure.
It's not like a can't thing.
So what I'm saying is this whole idea of like, well, we need to stop thinking about the past. Well, the past is what informs the present. The past in this context has created what we have now. So when you're talking about pull yourself up or just focus on yourself, yeah, someone with, let's say, a single mom, but in a middle class household has different advantages than someone with literally nothing or coming from the an orphanage,
right,
and so on and so forth. So to say, well, we're all just worry about yourself, to me is on a personal level beautiful, and I'm with it.
Yeah.
But on a societal running a system level, horrifying, and it destroys people.
I feel again like it's like I feel in a weird like no baby grows up saying, "I got to be poor and I was happy about it." You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's more so like, again, like the whole, like, as you say, the system or whatever, I feel just like society needs to change it, like its whole vapid thing and stuff like that.
How?
I wish if I had the plan like that, I'd probably try to
and change to
sell it.
What exactly? Because
well,
capitalism is part of this.
Again, I feel it just comes to simple like logic and stuff like that. Like again, like the 2-parent household is a good system. Now again, and then I had one person be like, "What about love?" And it's like, yeah, well, that should be implied that 2 people love you, they bring you into this world or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that should be like, that needs to be made known. It's like that's a better foundation than like just one person taking care of a kid, barely making it, barely doing this and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, though, maybe it's not, because like the kid that's got nothing will then want to grow up to want something more and have a stronger sense of something like that. I don't know. But it's like, in my opinion, it's like if you have 2 people in your household, I feel it's like a stronger, gives you at least 2 times the love.
Sure,
You know
unless those people are bad people.
But that's why I said, that's why I said, though, you have to start with love. Like 2 people that love each other have a kid, and then they grow up and they love the kid, and then they
disagree with that too. I think
you disagree with what?
The idea that you could oversimplify something like, as long as 2 people love each other and they have a kid, it's going to be fine.
I didn't say that, though. I'm saying like the whole idea of like it installs that like the kid at least has 2 people that love it like each other. You know what I'm saying? So then that kid might have like a better understanding on things and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Again, a lot of these things that I think or whatever, a lot of people are like, I disagree. Because I think like outside the box a lot of times and stuff like that. Again, I'm more of a person than the present. Like I have a cousin of mine. He's very like oh, stolen land. It's like that's like, hey, dude, you could chant that all you want to, but like this is the present now, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do we reconcile with that? How do you reconcile?
Well, I feel like
to say get over it is like crazy.
I mean, sadly, I think like okay, like if you're married, right, and you get divorced,
sure,
you eventually have to get over it, right?
Right, but that's on a 2 people in their individual relationship versus a system, right?
But at the same time, though, this like that person could be the system, though, because at the end of the day, you worship this person, you wanted to be with this person, it didn't work out, and you're like, why did she leave me? Why did she have to take like? And then you're like focused on this one thing, and you can't get away from the focus. So then it stagnates you from moving into the present.
But we understand the difference between a relationship and a literal system, system of government, a system of economics.
But that's still the same. It's still a relationship, though.
Right, but there's a difference between my girlfriend and my relationship with my girlfriend, my relationship with my boss.
I mean, yes and no in a sexual way, or maybe there's not a sexual way. I don't know, maybe not in a sexual way. But I feel like there's obviously an attraction, but a relationship is the same scenario.
So my relationship with my girlfriend, I don't have a girlfriend, by the way, ladies. Whoever's listening.
Holler at this man, ladies. Get on this. But this futon could be all yours.
If I had a girlfriend, my relationship with that girlfriend in the context there versus my relationship with you is different.
Yeah.
Versus my relationship with,
but still a relationship though.
Yeah, it is a relationship, but
Right.
it's a different type of relationship. So my relationship with my boss and a system is different than my relationship with you or my girlfriend.
Right, but I feel like you still treat it like it's a relationship, though.
You treat your relationship with your boss
No,
like
like
it's a
you treat it
relationship?
like it's a relationship, and the idea like you donate time to it. You stop what you're doing.
I don't
do
donate
this.
shit to my boss. They pay me.
Right, but the same but like you put your time and effort into it, though.
I put my time into it because I'm getting monetary value,
Right.
but I'm not getting monetary value from my partner.
There you are. You're getting love, support, emotional.
Monetary value?
Well, explain like what is your definition of monetary?
Money.
Well, you can get money from her too. You can get money from your
Are you
girl that
trolling?
you're
I
dating.
can't tell.
No, this is true though. I'm being honest though. You can it's a relationship regardless. You can give it like details of like, well, it's a sexual relationship, it's an economic relationship. It's still a relationship though.
Is your relationship with me? Do you have a girlfriend?
No.
Okay. Do you have are your mom and dad still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's still good. Yeah.
You're.
Now they're dead now, but thank you.
Oh, okay. Is your relationship with me the same as your relationship with your parents?
Yeah. I love you. I got nothing to hate against you. I said nice things to you, and you brought me, and you gave me a chance to be on your podcast. That's a relationship.
It's a relationship.
Yeah.
Is the context of the relationship with me the same as the relationship with your parents?
I mean, I would say yes in the idea that, like, again, I could talk to you like I talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they obviously gave me birth, so, like, there's that one factor. But at the same time, I mean, I could talk to them about stuff. I could talk to you about stuff. I could hang out with them, go get food. I could hang out with you, go get food. I could talk about my sister with them. I could talk about my sister with you. It's still a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I think outside the box on things. I try to be more present than anything else. Don't get wrong. America's got like a history of its own thing, and there's people, and right now it's still got this problem and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I get all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but my whole thing is it's like, yes, it has all these things, but like at the end of the day, it's time to be selfish. We got to focus. Aaron Chase has to focus on Aaron Chase and building up the Aaron Chase company. So then when he hits $50 million, I give it 3 weeks, $50 million, this man can do things with that money that nobody in his bracket would ever think to do.
Now,
Yeah.
I would say, when you say you think outside the box, what does that mean?
Well, again, like I'm more in the present instead of like the past, because you can't change anything from the past. You know what I'm saying?
Can you rectify or improve or learn from the past?
I mean, you can learn from the past, but it's like I'd rather make the mistakes in the present.
Right. You made the mistake in the present.
I'd rather make the mistake in the present than like look back on history and be like, well, now I'm consumed with history now.
Do you record your sets?
Yeah.
Okay. So on Monday, you do a set and hypothetically you bomb. You made the mistake, right?
So you were there Monday. You didn't leave. No.
You hypothetically bomb, right?
Okay.
On Monday.
Okay.
But you recorded that set.
Yes.
So you look back in the past
Uh-huh.
and you say, oh, that's what I did there. Let me fix that so that next time we don't do that again. Is that fair?
Yeah, but you're talking about like past. I'm talking about like that's still technically in the present, not like the second, but that's of the week that I'm doing it though. You know
At
I'm
what
saying?
point, where's the line of the past to you?
I would say
Is
like
9/11 the past?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Hurricane Katrina the past?
Yeah.
Is Trump's election the past? First time.
That's always gonna be present in my heart.
Very disturbing. Is Trump the past?
No, because they're still talking about him right now, like hardcore in the media. Like I don't
Okay.
think anybody really talks about Katrina or like. I mean, they talk about 9/11 when 9/11 pops up, but
Sure.
like, it's not like relative. Per
So
se.
2016 is the
like when I
time.
say past, I mean like maybe like 50 years from now or something.
50 years ago is the past.
Like yeah, like that's like history.
And it doesn't matter.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it's not something I'm focused on.
Why are you not focused on it?
Because I'm focused on me.
Perfect. Why do you think I would be?
Why do I think you were not focused on you?
No. Why do you think I might be using examples from, as you described it, the past? Why do you think I would do that?
Because you like history.
Okay. And why do you think I would do that to make a point about change and how our society approaches people?
I feel like the reason you're doing that is because you're looking for something. You haven't found it inside you yet.
I think that I found a lot inside of me, and I think that through looking at the past.
But that's what I'm saying, though. You're looking at the past to find Aaron Chase.
Right, because where I was from, where I grew up, people didn't tell me the past. They didn't tell me the context of why Juneteenth. You know, Juneteenth.
Yeah.
That shit was never taught in my school. Why was that never taught in my school?
Wasn't taught in my school neither.
Right.
But I wasn't even paying attention at the time, so I couldn't even tell
That's fine. But to me, people in power will manipulate the past and use the past to ignore problems and to not learn and grow. They'll use the past to make things worse. So
well, I feel like again, it's just like if you listen to that and you're already angry from that, it's gonna make it worse. But if I hear that, I'm just like, oh well, there you go.
Because it doesn't affect you, right?
Well, no, because I'm living in the present.
Right.
Right.
To go back to the stand-up
Yeah.
thing. There's a metaphor.
Yeah.
You record on Monday, you bomb.
Yeah.
Tuesday, you look in the past. There's a metaphor. And you say, oh, I can learn from what I just did here and make it better.
But you're talking about something like I get what you're saying, but like my whole thing is like okay, is there a difference between past and history?
Is there a different? I mean, the words are different, I guess.
No, but like, is there like a time frame between this is the past and then this is history? Is like because that's like the thing. Because I think that's where we're getting confused. Because I'll say like, history is more like 1800s, 1900s, and stuff like that. Like that's like 100 years ago and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's like history. Like the past is more so like last week is the past. Like 2 weeks ago, the past or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying, I think. Because it's like I try to live in the present / the past in the idea of like if it happened last week, I can look back on it. That's the past instead of like history. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. And there's a difference, I think, between personal things that happen in your life and societal issues.
Of course.
What I'm saying is you have to look to the past to learn from it and improve in the future.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Mistakes from the past can be learned from right? So, did you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender?